and we were talking about the sukuk. And sukuk is very close to my heart because it's the best Islamic instrument to compete to the conventional parties, right? Um, so Islamic Bank has been growing a lot, especially you will be surprised during the meltdown, during the COVID. Islamic banks were growing by double digit every year, right? More than 16%, 18% average growth in those times. So it's pretty resilient. And one of the brother was asking that what is the difference between Islamic bank and a conventional bank? It's just one thing. It is asset backing, right? In Islamic finance, there's no concept of making money over money. It has to be tied up with some asset, and I will give you a couple of examples as we move. So just for the people who are intrigued in Islamic finance, I just wanted to say one thing out loud. Despite this 6 trillion number looks very big, it's nothing. We have ample room to work in fintechs, in banks, to roll out more products for the more markets. There's a very big hungry markets uh, across the globe, especially where we live in Canada. You must have been hearing that we need a good product, we need a solid product, we don't need mushroom product, we don't need synthetic product, right? So the market is there, the pipeline is pretty big. It's just like unfortunately with regards to Canada where we live, there have been no anchor institution which have came in and basically embraced the market. Um, some use cases because one of the brother who works in AI, he also wanted to know what are the screen use cases. So I'll start with the blockchain where Mabrook exists. So the company I work for and I founded Mabrook 4 year back was recently licensed in May by Canadian regulator to roll out I should not say tokenization, like a digital shares crowdfunding theme um, platform using blockchain. So in that, what we have done is that I remember I was talking about Sukuk, and Sukuk has a very limited Sukuk has a very limited access to the retail investor like me and you, like salary class individual people who have $100, $1,000, $2,000, right? So basically, we have used blockchain to fractionalize any asset. Can be a asset of a real hard asset, or can be a debt raise, like somebody wants to raise loan for to do some business. So we can roll out sukuk. So we can divide those into $1,000 per share piece of that sukuk, and we can roll it out across the blockchain, of course, across the globe, and people can invest. 2 billion Muslim strong, they can invest on those lucrative assets in Canada. And then the person who have or the business owner who have rolled out that sukuk can enjoy a interest free bearing loan or servicing loan. And what they can do is they can invest, and then they can inject uh, halal money to generate halal income and give it back to the investor. That is one of the use case in the blockchain that we are doing. Of course, it goes more deep that we can start some digital asset exchange, so people start trading in a Sharia compliance way. We can also use those digital shares to pledge those shares as a collateral and activate some financing company to start issuing loans against those, right? All those use case comes in. Then we have artificial intelligence, AI. So, with regards to Mabrook, we have started building the world first Sharia governance framework. And in that, we have started working on the stock screening. So when I say stock screening means basically those traditional stock like Apple, Tesla, or whatever. And then the AI go and based on the parameters we have set, it goes and check the balance sheet, the owners, the use of fund, the portion of the interest in the entire balance sheet, what is the risk exposure, all that parameters which Islamic finance provide. And if somebody has a question, we can discuss it at the end of the call. But any parameter we give it to the AI, it goes and then it checks all the feeds. Um, all the information from some reputable sources and give the heat map to the Sharia control officer or Sharia services board, and they come in and they approve it. As long as those mufti and scholars have reviewed and approved it, it goes for the goes it's run on the platform, and it's people can start buying and trading those, right? Buying and selling. The last use case I have, the major three use case in Islamic finance is the digital banking. We have traditional banking across the globe right now. There are a couple of digital bank. One of them I know in Turkey, Alif, they are doing really good. The another one is in Malaysia. I forgot the name. They are really doing good, but it's just like two. So there's a very big demand on having a Islamic digital bank where we can offer halal first account, halal rewards, right? Hajj and Umrah programs, retirement fund programs, right? Community driven program. Those digital bank can be also established, and of course, a digital bank can exist on the can use AI, can use blockchain. We can have a digital bank like stable digital bank sorry, stable coin oriented digital bank. We can have a normal fiat based digital bank just like Revolut in UK, which is a traditional bank, or N26 in Germany, which is a traditional bank, and NU Bank Brazil, which is a traditional digital bank, right? So similarly we can have a Islamic bank. We don't have one in Canada. There's a very big momentum for last many years. People are trying to get licenses sorted out. So that is a work in progress. Hopefully, I make dua and you also make dua. We have somebody roll out this digital bank. One of the basic question everybody would ask that yes, AI, yes, a digital bank, yes, blockchain, and Fahad is talking about Islamic finance. But what are the fundamental difference? Because we see credit card, we see home finance, we see home like car financing and all those product, right? Investment product, trading product, they are same as any conventional bank. So see, the fundamental never changes. What are the fundamentals? It goes to the fiqh and Sharia Muamalat. One is that we cannot have any component of riba, right? That, i.e., that money cannot go and just earn money. And I'll give you a very good example. Imagine there's a pencil and somebody comes to us and they say, we are a conventional bank like Citibank or Standard Chartered Bank. Somebody comes and say, what, I want to buy a pencil. We'll tell him that, we don't care what you buy. All we are going to give you is a loan. What is your credit worthiness? What you have been doing? Have you filed bankruptcy? How many loan exposures you have with other bank? I want to see that. And based on that, I will give you a cash. What you do with cash, I don't care. The running finance of the loan will be there. And you go and buy pencil or whatever you want to buy. In Islamic finance, it's different. First, we will ask him that what is the application of the pencil? What are you going to do with it? Um, and what are the specification of the pencil? What it looks like? Who is the supplier vendor? So basically what we are doing dealing with is that we co-share the risk. In Islamic finance there's a risk equation, and based on that I will ask him for the invoice and everything. First I'm going to buy the pencil, all right, and then I'm going to sell the pencil to the customer on a markup price. So it is a muraba, meaning now we are underwriting pencil. We are not underwriting only the human. Of course the human component also will go and check the criteria and whatnot, but the fundamental difference is that we are not giving him money. We are giving him an asset, and on asset we are charging him a markup. Okay. Then the second fundamental is no gharar or mess, meaning that there should be no uncertainty or speculation or gambling. Meaning what? That I cannot put a agreement saying that, okay, if this let's say in a good example would be commodity finance. We cannot say that, okay, if this rice will be of this price, then my interest will be lower. But if the price is higher, then my interest will be higher. No, we have to have a commodity. When if we are doing financing, all those uncertainty should be out. There should be no speculation. A good example of speculation could be, I want to trade, I want to buy a bitcoin, I want to buy a stock, but I want to buy it when the price goes this, right? So we cannot do this kind of future trading as well in Islamic finance. Not allowed. Real asset, which I have explained many times, that every investment has to tie it onto the economic. If we are doing a home financing, then we need to have like a musharka. Musharka in plain English means partnership. Partnership means that I'm going to buy a house. We'll have a 50, 80, 20, 50, 50, whatever ratio. And every month you're going to buy uh, my share, right? And then the moment all the shares have been purchased by the house person, right? The house is yours, and meanwhile you pay me a rent. Shared is, as I mentioned, that in Islamic finance, when we write, there's a there are a couple of protocols that you have to follow in terms of risk sharing. Now, you will be thinking that these are all only fundamentals. Where is that golden rule? Where Fahad is copy pasting all that information, how that product structuring will work. So there's an organization called AAOIP. It's accounting yeah, it's called accounting of Islamic finance something. Sorry, it's not in my mind. But what IOP did is out of Bahrain, and they have 62 to 63 Sharia standard. Sharia standard means that if you want to structure any product, you will find one of the golden rule or the standard that all the ulama have been working day and night and uh, basically getting it out to the market. So IFE is a non-profit organization. In many banks across the globe follow IFE, and it's so serious that regulator like UAE Central Bank, regulator like Saudi, regulator like Bahrain and Pakistan also, Bangladesh also, they have pushed IFE as the de facto regulation. If you don't follow IFE, and Islamic Bank does not IFE, you can be disqualified and your license can be revoked. And in that question answer, I can discuss more about IFE itself. Mabrook follows IFE. And then there is another one good standard, which is IFE, Islamic Finance Services Board, is out of Malaysia. They both are overlapping to each other sometime, but many banks in the Far East Asia, they follow IFSP. Doesn't matter what you follow, but they are the governing rule. You cannot be out of these two rules, right? Um, a basic question whenever I travel, like since my Dubai Sign Bank days, the basic question people used to ask me that, Fahad, you are coming from UAE, you must know Islamic finance, you work for the largest bank, tell us, is it halal or not? So I used to tell them that no, I'm not the person to tell you halal, right? First, we have to go there and ask who is the Sharia scholar who have reviewed it, right? Is that Sharia scholar IOFE certified? Is he have that financial depth, or is just like a normal Sharia scholar, right? Then the second question will be who is regulating that product or the fintech or the bank? Is it your real regulator in a real country, or it is like just made up? What are the actual asset behind it? So if the bank is doing home financing or financing, if I see their balance sheet and I take all the lists of their asset they own, like land, commercial building, or whatever they have financed, if they are real or they are synthetic like a piece of paper and that they just exist at the transaction level, can I see the valuation of it? Are these risks explained honestly by the party? Let's say if Mabrook is a platform, something happened to the Mabrook is turned off, where the investment goes, right? If it is a real asset back platform, then everybody will be safe because they have not invested in Mabrook or Mabrook coin or whatsoever. They have invested in a real estate or some building or somewhere they have a proper ownership record that they can go and liquidate, right? So this is what I am been asking. And coincidentally, for not sure how many people follow me on LinkedIn, but coincidentally, two things happen in the conventional market in last, I would say, 10 months roughly or 8 months. One is that US rolled out a stable coin in stable coin law in September. So a stable coin like USDC, right? US dollar backed coin, they are talking about one-on-one backing with somehow with the real assets, and they have also there's a fight happening right now that no, the stable coin not can yield a profit, or they cannot give a return. If you hold a stable coin, you should not have a return. So all those discussions are happening, which is basically Islamic finance, that you cannot have a return on a cash. Right? Why? Because world is now understanding, and we have this 1400 years back, that if there's no asset, then there's some fishy thing going on, and what you are doing is like as a pyramid scheme, like you are having a debt, and then you are evaluating that debt, and you are generating more cash, and you are creating more debt for you, right? US, I think, is 47 to 50 trillion debt. Same as Canada. I think Canada would be somewhere 10 to 15. I don't remember. This is what happened. The second trigger happened, I think it was last week in China. The world largest bank, ICBC, the largest bank by asset, they announced that they're going to stop paper based gold trading, which means what? That We will not have any transactor speculators doing taking the opportunity of uncertainty, day trading kind of guys. We are going to shut down the paperback gold trading, and we are going to come up with a new exchange which will be a hard gold, like a gold lying somewhere in some vault kind of a trading. So my article is there, and I was so happy that Islam has given this Islamic finance for 1400 years. It's just like application, right? We have Quran, we have Hadith, but people like me, how many time I have followed that standard, how what effort I have put to understand Quran and apply it on my life. Same analogy applies here. Okay, so the rule does not change; it's same regardless. You use AI, you use blockchain, or whatever technology you use. These fundamentals should never change. Right? Technology is just an enabler; it's not replacing any serious standard, as we know. Yeah, I think we discussed it. We have a principal fix and principal fix are IOF. I invite everybody to go into Taif Digital Institute, and I will let Brother Shahar to circulate the YouTube address, and we have some courses also. Taif was formed, for the people who don't know Taif. I formed Taif and I left the Dubai Bank in UAE 2019. It's a UAE registered Islamic Finance Training Academy. For me, it's non for profit, so anybody can go and they can become like a zero to hero there. We are also approved by IFE as the exam, remote exam provider, training people, to make sure that we have a good human capital injected into every market, so people have right sources to ask question. And there are so many assets which are on the YouTube of Type. You guys can benefit from that. So I try to put together the practitioners, the scholars who are really doing it today in the most heavy regulated market like Malaysia, UAE, Saudi, Pakistan, and I've tried to put some courses there. All right. Um, and yeah, I would say that it's just a disclaimer. It's not an investment advice I'm giving. Neither I am promoting Mabrook here. Mabrook is just a fintech, and we are nearing launch, inshallah. And when we have some other forum, I'll talk about Mabrook. Mabrook is going to be regulated. We have signed a joint venture with the existing financial company in Canada, and we have changed their material changes and went to the regulator, got everything done right, and now we are working there. El Salvador, we have applied for the digital asset service provider license, like entity, a regulated entity, which can basically take the asset and tokenize it, or issue digital shares in hundred or $1,000 or whatever. And we have our own Sharia supervisory board. So we have Dr. Mufti Yusuf Sultan, who's a licensed scholar by Malaysia Security Exchange as well, and highly accredited person, also a policymaker of IOV, and Mufti Ismail Desai. And then we will be adding more. So I think let's move to first question. I just wanted to summarize everything because I know people come from different background, they have different mindset, but I want to converse into some tangible use cases, so we will have a very informative discussion. Any question, Bismillah?
Well, not a question, just a remark. You mentioned that USA is in debt of about $46 trillion. That's not the right figure. The figure is $37 trillion.
Awesome.
Yeah, $37 trillion. And the other thing, I mean, what I understand from here is that we are, if we are doing the financing, it's basically against any purchases of gold or purchases of properties and so, and the profit is shared among the bank and the investor. Am I right in understanding that? And rather than just speculating it and just money earning money, and losses are only on the one side.
Correct, correct. So the way if you want to go under the hood of how this works, so bank first, whenever we turn on a bank, what is the first thing we do in the treasury? What we do is that we put a pool of money, a bucket. We
Correct.
call it Mudarba. Okay. Mudarba means what? Mudarba is a pool of money. All the current account, saving account, time deposit, fixed deposit guys are coming and they are putting money. Now we have a liquidity. Now there is a fund manager. So who will be the fund manager? The fund manager becomes the bank. So now it's bank responsibility to operate that fund. and then this is now bank responsibility to buy asset, to do financing or whatever. So it is, the bank is using mudarba. Now, one thing to remember, that conceptually this is how it works. So we have Rabbul Mal, meaning the people who have given money, those are our account holders. And then we have a fund manager who is acting on behalf of those Rabbul Mal or people who have given money and maximizing the return. But there is no conceptually, this is the thing, but there are multiple mudarba. In IFE standard in Islamic finance, you have to have a mudarba converge into some one one book. So we will have mudarba for property, mudarba for car financing. I'm giving an example that depends on how the business model of the bank work, and those mudarba is converging, and then whatever the financing we are doing for the customer has to be asset backing. So on the left side of mudarba, we'll have all asset coming in, and they will be reporting to Muraba, and all the yields are coming in. The fund manager debit its fee, which is pre-agreed, and it's basically placed on current account, saving account agreement. When the customer is signing, they net it, they take their fee out, they distribute the profit.
And if any time, let's say you have an investment and Mudarba, and at any time, if you see that our money, our assets are growing, if any time you want to withdraw some money out of it, let's say taking out $1 million or 500 or $0.5 million, is that allowed?
It is allowed. Now, it is allowed on the current account and saving account. That's the regulation it's saying. So, Islamic finance will never supersede the central bank law. All right. So, we have to be under the jurisdiction regulation, and we have to structure the product around that. So, any central bank you go in the world, you cannot say to any customer, as far as he's a current account and saving account customer, that you cannot withdraw money. So, he has the right to withdraw money. The fixed deposit, you can define a period that, okay, give me minimum commitment so I can maximize my ROI as a fund manager. So you will give me a commitment. Yeah, yes, Mr. Bank, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 25, and then you can roll over if I don't come back to you. So in that, the Islamic Bank has a way to, you can liquidate it, but then because the profit has not been realized, right? So imagine that you have invested for January fixed deposit, and you come back and you say, Fahad, I'm your relationship manager. You come to the branch and you say, Fahad, I want to take out my money. I will not stop you. I will say you, okay, now I have to give you a 24 hours profit. How I'm going to do it? Because my profit cycle will end, the first profit cycle will end in 3 months, because you asked me to put my money 3 months. So in that, I cannot speculate anything. I will go back to my last year performance, and then I'm going to give you some profit out of it, with the promise that when the profit are realized, if I generate more profit, I'm going to settle you. If I make losses, then you have to give me back my money. That's the concept.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Thank you. But
You're welcome.
fixed deposit is the concept of fixed deposit is basically in the banking system. Fixed deposit, when you're talking about the fixed deposit in Islamic banking, that means you have given a commitment that you will withdraw your profits after a certain period of time, right?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Profit and principal also.
Profit and principal also. Okay, okay, okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're
Now
welcome.
other people can ask questions so that I can learn something.
No, see, never. If I don't have an answer, I will get you the answer. But we have to come out with the hesitation of not asking question, right? And I think that's the problem. When I immigrated to Canada, I saw that people were not, they were shy, or they were saying, I don't want to ask questions. So I'm really happy when people ask me questions. That's the
Well,
way it should be.
yeah, that's the basic uh, uh, problem here with I'm talking about the subcontinent people, because when you go to the school and the teacher asks you a question, you're so hesitant. You hesitant to ask a question. But I've learned this thing since I've did my post graduation from the United States, and I still remember my professor. He said, "Ask a question, even if it's the most stupid question. Ask it. That's the way you learn it." So
Yeah, and correct. Yeah, I was just same, and then everybody benefits, because maybe when you ask some question, somebody is listening, right? So it's a sadka jariya also. As far as the person like me have the ability to give a correct answer, if not, then do not give answer. Go back to the scholars and come back. That's the caveat.
right,
All right, awesome. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Any other question?
Just a quick one. Sorry, I missed this part. You said there's something called a training link that you would share, or you've already shared with us.
Oh, I can put it there. So training link. So when I was in Dubai Islamic Bank, I had a very big challenge of people. Whenever I was talking to any forum, people used to ask me Islamic finance question, and I was very careful responding to them because I'm not a scholar. I cannot give a fatwa. I cannot structure a product. I can just tell you that if you want to structure a product, these are the mechanics. So what I did is that I formed this company which is called Taif Digital Institute. Taif is the city, the same city name in we have in Saudi. That is the name. So you can find it, and here is the YouTube asset. You can go ahead and then look for the information, and
Perfect.
then it has a URL, taiflearning.com. Those are paid courses, so there's a small team I have set up, so the all the money proceed goes to them because we have to pay them. So these are properly certification, a reputed certification that you can research on if you are keen to do certification. I always say to people that regardless you are a banker, you are a non-banker, even you have a business, you should understand Islamic finance because business, for example, how to do zakah, you should know, right? You should not go to a masjid and ask this basic question. I mean, we have right to do so, but these are basic knowledge. If we are into industry and we know we have to give zakat, then we should go and learn zakat, like what is the calculation mechanics, how nisab works, and then ask a question from the mufti or the scholar as well. So those
Mr.
courses are
Assalamualaikum.
there.
This is
Walaikum
Asif.
assalam.
Can I have one question?
Go ahead, brother.
So I was in Middle East for a couple of years only. Again, I never used Islamic banking or any products. But one of the things which I have observed or what I have heard about is uh, essentially for a middle class person, he takes a loan and he pays a certain amount across the months or that bi-weekly periods. And he takes the same amount from an Islamic bank. Uh, So the number which you will be paying back to bank typically is higher. So just that the name changes from interest to service charge, and just that the name of the bank changes from say XYZ to XYZ Islamic Bank, the customer is paying more money. So that is something which few of my friends have shared. Again, I haven't took any Islamic products. Okay, so is that something true or how it is? Or basically, my
So
question is typically the charges by the Islamic bank is something which is more higher a average customer is paying.
this is a 90% what you call mindset of people. Even if you go to Pakistan, Bangladesh, it is the same sentiments that people will say that no, your Islamic banking is very, they are charging high. And I don't want to talk about a specific bank, right? So the bank I used to work with, the Islamic Bank, the way we were having the fee structure and everything and the structuring, there was a Sharia supervisory board who were doing constant audit of. So first of all, if I have to do a product in the market, what should I do? I should not. I was not empowered to just roll out the product just like that, right? I have to go talk to the Sharia supervisory board. There has to be at least minimum three people reviewing my product program, the fee structure, how the mechanics work, are they IFE compliant or not? And those guys had fiduciary responsibility, right? So because they have to report to the Sharia High Authority of UAE Central Bank. First, I have to deal with them before even I talk to my boss that this is what I want to do, right? Then after they review it, there was never an instant where they will just say that yeah, here you go, here's our rubber stamp, go and roll it out. Okay, no, never. In the DIB when I was there, they used it. Sometime it took me like 18 months to get a product out. For example, the Islamic credit card. Dubai Islamic Bank was the first ever bank in the world who rolled out a Islamic proper Sharia compliant Islamic credit card in the market. And 60 to 70% of the customers were Islamic. Why? Because the Islamic credit card which we rolled out was based on Salam, and in that I could only Sharia asked me to only charge a fixed fee. You have to tell the customer, regardless they when they are using the card, all right, and they max out. So the question was that how you going to calculate the fee? but which comes into speculation and gharar because we don't know, or you're going to come up with something and make losses. So I had to come up with a plan that if you use your card that month, regardless 1 dirham or 100 dirham, right? I'm going to charge you this fee, and if you don't use this card, I'm going to charge you this fixed fee card. And I really don't know what is the your friend's experience with other bank, but those are the questions the regulator have asked. See, it's all about awareness. If you
Yeah,
feel
so
that your Islamic
essentially
bank is abusing
he
you have a right to
purchased
talk
a
to the
car.
regulator
So
or their
essentially he
serious
purchased a
supervisory
car.
board, which are independent. They are not reporting to the CEO of the bank. They report to the regulator. In UAE example, Canada, of course, um, the way I am planning with Mabrook is that you will be privileged to use the platform to ask Sharia question from the scholars. So we'll try to take the Mabrook out of the pit, right? So that you can ask all those burning questions. So so Mabrook work backwards, take the sentiment, make sure that everything is structured. So that's my humble answer to this.
Okay, and my second question was that you
Okay,
spoke
ask.
about. Hey, can you hear me? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. My
Yes.
apologies.
Okay, okay. So my second question was you told that the money is tied to assets, right? So one of the practical challenges which we face. So I am basically from the state of Kerala in India. So uh, like one of my uncle was very closely working with government. So in fact, he along with some Middle Eastern investors actually asked about the possibility of setting up an Islamic finance institution. So the answer which they got from the current at that time the then finance minister was again for an Islamic bank or an Islamic finance institution, the biggest thing is the money needs to be tied with assets. You need to have some assets to back the money. But the problem is in countries like India or in major many of the countries, the license of the bank is only for doing financial transactions. They are not allowed to have other areas outside of financial things. So essentially, okay, they can invest in companies and all, but again, their primary responsibility will be lending and receiving the money. So at that time, it was very tough. So that was one of the challenges which he said, which I believe that will be the same with many of the countries. What I have observed in the Middle Eastern countries is the Islamic institutions. If in case I want to buy a car, the Islamic finance institution they will have a car company or they will have a preferred company where they have a lot of assets or things tied up there, and they can easily finance your mortgage or finance your no lease option, whatever you want to buy a car or you want to buy a flat or you want to rent a flat. The same thing will apply there. But in many of the countries, I don't think the regulators will allow the banks to have outside the banking transaction rights. So how will you tackle these kind of things?
So your question, if to simplify, is that since Islamic banking is talking about asset in a country where the regulator will not allow you to hold those assets, how you will tackle this one?
Yeah. So what is the path forward?
Yeah. So this is very normal. See, when we did implementation in Kenya, Dubai Islamic Bank, Kenya, right? Kenya is not a Muslim country. Neither they have that Islamic. They don't have a regulatory laws for the Islamic finance. So we have to build one. So the way we do it is that if it is a car financing, then we will appoint that car seller, right, or the showroom as our agent, and that agent will hold the asset. But remember, agent had holding the asset is different than when the moment I finance the customer and I am doing muraba, right, markup thing. I have to pay settle the invoice to the dealer and get the car into my balance sheet before I give it to the customer. There cannot be a direct link. Otherwise, then that asset trace is not on my balance sheet. Right? This is how we tackle it. And there are many creative way to do it. We can do an SPV, right, a special purpose vehicle. We can create a corporate under the bank, right, uh, which is a which is a corporate which holds those assets, and we can have like an investment banking arm out of the bank, and then we kind of connect those. So there are many ways to do it, but the idea is everything converges is the fund is on the fundamental. Your lending should not be more than what you are holding today as asset. That's a Sharia disqualification, man. That means something fishy is happening. And the way Asif practically we have worked it is that we structured the product like in Canada when we are structuring this group. I had to go and talk to the regulator that this is how we want to do it, right? And I was surprised to find that all the solution which I was asking, Canada the law of the land does have it. It was just like I have to ask a well researched question and understand their law. And then in their law, I have to structure myself. And there's a back and forth with the Sharia supervisory board and regulator, but there is always a solution out, right?
Okay, thank you.
Any, you're welcome. Anything? Any other questions?
Fahad, could you name that Chinese bank where you said that their transactions are always and go not in terms of paper money?
Oh, sure, I can. I'll just send you the article. Everything is there. Just
Okay,
look into it.
very good. So